Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast YouTube page. We're back at it with some wrestling content this week. How you been doing, Brian?
I've been doing good, man. I had a wonderful weekend. I've been having a good time with the D&D content, and I've been, uh, despite some things that have happened in the wrestling world, I'm happy to be here tonight with you, and that's the
Yeah,
exciting thing for me. How are
yeah. I
you?
think I'm doing good. That's the exciting thing for me too. Wrestling's been kind of. I don't want to say I'm losing interest. Hey, Chris, what's up? I find myself disillusioned with both products at points. I will say that AEW has improved leaps and bounds where it was a year ago. I just hope that they can keep it consistent moving forward. It's been the by far more entertaining product, to watch. You don't have 20 masked men dancing around Seth Rollins under a mask in a ring.
Ooh, shots. Um, okay, so I definitely think that there is some definite benefits to the AEW program right now in terms of their storytelling over Triple H's, and I think that's really kind of surprising to everyone because for a long time we all viewed Tony Khan as just playing with his action figures, and finally now we're getting some actual development and storytelling out of
hmm
those action figures. Thank God. I don't know who's doing. I don't know. Is that Brian Danielson?
I think it's not just Tony booking things now. I think he's got a solid team around him, and they're kind of it's like a funneling the ideas down into a cohesive vision.
Hmm.
Honestly, the matches have always been good on AEW's program. That's never been
Yes.
their struggle. The struggle has been the story. Well, the last like 2 3 months, it's been really good story wise. It presentation wise just looks like a product that's you know
The
vastly better
only
than WWE.
the only knock that I would really put on AEW in terms of their matches is, um, as an overall, I wish we could see more short matches. I think too often in AEW we're too busy. It's more about like every match needs to be this great match. No, actually, it doesn't. Sometimes you just need Sometimes a squash is right. Sometimes a you you're not burying a talent. You're serving the purpose of the story and serving the purpose of a show. So
Hmm
I think that that's a lesson that they could take moving forward to improve their upon what they've already improved upon. But
hmm
uh, definitely better storytelling going on in AEW.
Yeah. Well, and Elimination Chamber. I was really disappointed with that pay per view. It was really congrats, I guess, to me for winning and retaining the predictions championship. I even tried to throw a wild card in there and somehow got it right. I guess it's better to be lucky than good
I
some
was
days.
okay. So I'm gonna say this is one that I didn't necessarily think I was gonna beat you in the predictions, but God was I hoping. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
not even so much because I wanted to beat you in the predictions, but because like I had really kind of looked at it as like, all right, what could possibly get me hyped for Mania?
hmm
That's how I booked out my predictions, and because and I know a lot of other people were doing the same thing. I know there were a lot of people pulling for LA Knight in the men's Royal Rumble because that's an exciting thing. That's something they would have paid money to see is LA Knight in a main event. I personally I'm not as excited for Randy. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go through the show.
Yeah, I think that honestly it was a pivot to tell a new story. I think it was rather rushed. The women's chamber was good. It had great moments, but the rest of the card kind of was the shits. Like Danhausen, big WWE debut with the inside his coffin inside the crate. They were calling him the Gobbledygooker 2.0 because the crowd was
Hmm.
flat. Crowd didn't know
Well,
who he was, didn't recognize him.
so with Danhausen, all right. I love. First of all, I am a huge fanhausen of Danhausen. I know you are too. We both love Danhausen, okay? Very, very good, very, very nice, and very evil. And the problem with this debut is nothing about Danhausen is actually done in Danhausen's debut. Danhausen
Hmm.
out of this coffin and having all the girls dancing around him and everything, it doesn't actually show who he is in
Hmm.
any serviceable way. He had the teeth, which if you already knew who he was, okay, and
Hmm.
everybody who knew who Danhausen was already was excited to see Danhausen.
The problem is the WWE casual audience doesn't know who he is because they aren't watching ROH, they aren't watching the Indies or AEW.
Hmm.
They just know, hey, this guy is here and he's got these Ghoulhausens dancing around. This is kind of weird, and there was a lot of lack of context behind it,
On
and I think they could have done a little more.
So I've been thinking about that. Everybody's pitched their different ways of how they would have gone about this. So I think that the build-up was actually done right. I
Yeah, I mean
like
they
the
made it seem big.
I like the idea of the build-up. Okay, but the thing about Danhausen is like he looks like this huge deal, but he's not, and that's part of the act. And so I think what actually would have been better, more entertaining. We would have gotten more out of it. I think people would have reacted better in the long run. Is have have like the GMs there are you open it. No, you open it. All right, you know what? Both of us screw it, and they walk away. And then you hear like banging. Hey, hey, this is supposed to be my big moment. Hey, let me out of here. And then
You are
like he
cursed.
kicks his way out, and everyone's like, oh my god. And then Cole can like kind of explain who he is as he's making his way down, and then have him sit down at commentary and just riff with Michael Cole for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been
Give
great.
that
That's
man
how I would have done it.
give him 2 minutes of time to just be himself, and I guarantee you he's over.
Yeah. Well, and they just he hasn't had a match yet. And the interesting, like if you look at how his character is booked, he is a small guy. We he's about a little shorter than you and I, maybe. Maybe about somewhere in between. I'm not sure. But they when they book him, it's kind of the Andre effect where they book him at weighing in at 300 pounds,
Hmm.
standing 7 foot. They make it's an interesting way they've managed to make the supernatural feel a little real again. This was a very campy approach that reminded me a lot of campy 1950s and 60s horror movies,
Yes, yes.
like the Twilight Zone a little bit.
Which
Um,
actually is appropriate for like the origins of the Danhausen character. Like
mhm,
he is meant to be very campy.
yeah. And it's
Sorry.
one of those things where I personally think that the debut wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I personally, I think the Raw after they redeemed him when he cursed Dominic, and they made his curse seem real, which AEW did do to a degree, but Danhausen got hurt over there, and then they just never brought him back. So it's their loss there, and I'm hoping we keep getting more and more of these Danhausen and Miz segments because they're gold. I can't wait until him and our truth cross pass, and he goes, "Hey Sting, how are you doing?"
Oh my god. Oh
And
my
then
god. I'm
Danhausen
gonna
goes,
die. I'm gonna
"Stinghausen, no."
or our truth is convinced that Danhausen is a real vampire. Like that would also be
Yes.
like wearing garlic and crosses, like the whole 9 yards. That could be great. Like there's so many ways that you could go with it. That
I'm
those
just gonna
two would
pitch
be.
this now. I need a Miz Danhausen team up against R Truth and Damian Priest at WrestleMania.
Oh my god.
They're gonna break Damian Priest. They're
Oh
gonna
my
break
god. That
him.
would be that. Okay, I actually have another pitch. I mentioned this to you privately. I appreciate you letting me have my moment on this. You made this really cool graphic earlier, um, for tonight, and I had this like vision, this moment. It actually went back to some HKW stuff that we did, um, and a character named Zelzabar, who, for those of you who aren't in the know, Zelzabar for us he was a clown, like a dark, evil clown gimmick character, and we are at our biggest show of our WrestleMania. We had him host the show one year,
Hmm.
and it put this weird, like, just kind of like spin, like kind of dark circus vibe over
Hmm.
everything. And with that picture that you showed, I was like, it would be absolutely hilarious is if Danhausen was the host of WrestleMania. But because of who Danhausen is and because of his character, he's the unofficial host of WrestleMania. He announces he's the host. The GMs, everybody's like, no, you're not the host. He's like, I absolutely am the host. I'm here for all the money.
Danhausen's. I need them. What I need to see is if they're going to do this, they need to kick off the show with him inside a blimp, and that's how he makes his entrance. That's how he makes his entrance.
Oh my god.
Get all the human monies. No, Danhausen's a great character, and I'm glad he's back in the fray. And I for one, I'm glad they were able to redeem him and redeem his debut. And he
I think
cursed El Grande Americano tonight. It was hilarious.
I also want to just add in that while I know that there are a lot of people who aren't really happy with the Triple H era of WWE, one thing that we have to give it is like Danhausen right now. Okay, we if this was the Vince era, there would be no Danhausen,
Danhausen will be stuck in NXT.
or the the man that portrays him would have been given a new a new name and a new paint job and a twist on his gimmick that wasn't understood by an 80-year-old man.
Vince
Like
Hausen. He likes
Vince
big
House.
sweaty men.
Oh, Vince House. Can we have Vince Housen? Oh my God. Danhausen coming out with Vince Housen at his side.
I will get up an image of that later this week.
I'm having AI do it right now. You go on to the next thing.
Well, speaking of Elimination Chamber and duds, and it's no disrespect to Randy, I'm a huge Randy Orton fan, but I think people were just not very excited about the men's chamber this year. Um, Randy Orton won. He was set to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, but then due to Drew McIntyre's interference towards the end, costing Cody Rhodes the match, Cody then faced Drew for the WWE Championship this past SmackDown, where Cody won. So not only did Cody lose the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber, he was gifted a match in a situation when he shouldn't have had a rematch to begin with. And now we're getting, Cody versus Randy. I was down for the Cody versus Randy story, but they're both baby faces, so someone's turning heel here. And it would not shock me if Cody retains the title at WrestleMania, Randy turns heel afterwards, and then they continue the program on for a few more months. And I think it's. I saw something on TikTok that really pissed me off while waiting for you to join here
Oh
before
no
the
no no!
pod.
Go ahead. I'm just letting you get it out.
So
I already told you. I have my own stuff to say on this. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get yours out.
normally I'm a big believer in what's meant to happen in wrestling is going to happen. It's not it's kayfabe. What the fuck was the point of having Drew win the belt for 2.5 months? Like for real. Wouldn't it have been easier to just have him win it months ago and have Cody overcome him and then set up a proper, like build for Randy versus Cody? Um, you know, this honestly, like Randy versus Cody feels like the little brother in this scenario. It's and this it feels I don't want to say disrespectful to Drew, Obviously, he's a company man. He does a good job, and he does what he's supposed to. But like, you're insulting the intelligence of your audience when you create situations like this, and like, that's honestly the perfect. If I was to say there was a similarity between the Vince era and the Triple H era, it's the continuation of insulting your audience's intelligence. Maybe not necessarily to the same degree every time, but come on. This is without a doubt one of the weakest roads to WrestleMania I've ever seen. Like, I'm getting like the build to WrestleMania 27.
You're not wrong. All right. I felt like that was a personal shot at me. Every
Wasn't a
time,
shot at you. Honestly, I
every
feel
time
sorry for you.
27, every time 27 comes up, um, it hurts a little more deep down in the bottom of my hip. It hurts.
Yeah, I got to watch WrestleMania in Detroit at 23, so like I got a good Mania. I'm sorry you you got 27.
What can you do? You know, we all get stuck in these bad positions.
Ah!
Danhausen.
Send me that image. I'm gonna create a Danhausen Vince mock-up comic. It's gonna be hilarious.
Everybody watching at home, I hope that you have nightmares of Danhausen.
I'm gonna. Hey pal, it's such good shit. Why have I never thought to copyright my own face paint? Why was I not wearing face paint?
This is the guy who really wants all the monies. Uh, all
You're
right,
not wrong.
all right. So, okay. So here's the thing. This is why I'm really pissed. Okay. I don't like throwing everything in the wood chipper, and that's what I feel that they did with
Because tick.
this with this entire storyline with Drew's reign. Um, so like on the real, I think there actually is a compelling story to be told between Cody and Randy. Okay.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely
Um,
agree.
I really like the idea of Cody going. You know, Cody wants to be champion again. Understandable. Good. I'm glad Cody is chasing the title. It makes it feel important. Gold star there. Randy not only is chasing the gold, he's chasing that idea. That and I wish they would have put this out there. Okay.
Hmm.
I wish that they would have done this with Randy. It comes with a couple lines, you know, just a small tweak, but small tweaks make big differences.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if Randy had said something to the effect of, everyone always said that that John Cena and I were on the same level. I'm going to be the second man to get 17.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have at least made me believe that Randy has a chance in this match.
Right. And you're automatically like aligning yourself with something that we've just recently seen. You're
Hmm.
giving us an ideal that we can get behind. Now we get to the Elimination Chamber, okay? And it gets down to this point where you have Randy and Cody and X third superstar in the ring, okay? Because the point that I'm talking about, we're going to have a completely different wrestler win this. You know, Orton hits an RKO on wrestler X.
Hmm.
1, 2, and Cody knocks him off. Cody breaks up the pin, which you don't need to do in an Elimination Chamber match, to be clear, but for the storytelling purposes, we do.
Hmm.
Because now Cody is stopping Randy from
Standing in
winning.
his way, and
Yeah.
not.
And then, you know, Cody can hit a crossroads, same thing. Now Orton's pissed. Now I'm not going to let you get the pin. The two of them start infighting. They stopped each other from achieving their goals. Now it's compelling for them to have the match at WrestleMania.
Hmm. Don't even need the title at that point.
Exactly. Which which brings me to my next point. Now all you have to do is have a babyface win that makes sense with Drew. And we've had so many baby faces.
They could have
Okay,
had Sammy.
it could have been Sammy. It could have been L.A. Knight. It could like we have had all these people. It could have been Jacob Fatu. It, there's
Could have been
plenty
Jey
of ways
Uso.
we could have gone with this.
Yeah. Could have been Jey Uso. Could have been any babyface. No,
I
like
mean,
I'm with you, and
I
like
I,
honestly, like
I
go
don't
ahead.
want it to be Jey Uso. I want to be real clear about that. I wouldn't have wanted to be Jey Uso.
So
I
I'm
don't
okay
think
with
that
it.
would have been right
I'm
for
okay
Sammy.
in that scenario with it being Jey Uso as long as Jey Uso loses at Mania to Drew. That's the only way I'm okay with it.
Like I really think
What?
that the best two options though would have been, um, or the best three options would have been Jacob Fatu because of all the buildup that you already had going into that match. L.A. Knight already in the
Mhm,
match, super over, ready to take that position. Or Sami Zayn,
mhm.
which fits in on so many levels with the typical storytelling that WWE likes to do. So basically, if you're gonna have, you know, if you're gonna have Drew lose the belt anyways, let's have it be to a notable babyface that is going to get some real momentum out of it, as opposed to putting it back on Cody Rhodes and making us feel like everything we watched for the last 6 months was irrelevant.
You're not wrong.
Whew.
I don't know. Like I'm with you with the anger there. Like particularly when it comes to Sami Zayn and LA Knight. LA Knight, they basically I have given up any hope of him being a world heavyweight champion, even a contender for it. Really, they have put zero faith in the man who's the crowd reactions to him are insane. Like it's like attitude era level crowd reactions. He's over his shit. I don't know if it's just like something else that's missing that they don't see. Maybe it's the whole Chelsea Green Michael Hayes bullshit, but with LA Knight and Triple H.
Well,
Um,
whatever it is for LA Knight, it's right there for Finn Balor as well.
hmm Well, and it's also there for Sami Zayn. Like
Hmm.
Sammy's the ultimate underdog. The whole thing, like his whole thing, like basically like
And I have to
not.
say, this surprises me too because, like, looking back at it through history, like you think about the Triple H guys and how many of the guys that we're talking about are NXT were like NXT, like big NXT guys back in their day. Like Sami Zayn was a huge NXT guy back in the day.
hmm Well,
You
and
know,
the way they've been portraying Sammy and like they what kind of irked me.
are you there, bro? I don't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? Can you? Oh,
Anyways,
oh, you're
can you
back.
hear me
You're
now?
back. I can hear you again.
My headset randomly turned off. But so last week when they were doing that backstage segment with Randy and can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You know who? I'm not going to blame you for this, Evan. This is the work of Vince.
God damn it! I'm gonna be seeing that in my nightmares. Yeah, but so the interview segment with Sammy and Randy last week, where Randy, basically like Sammy's like, doesn't that, make you a bad person if you're selfish? And Randy's like, well, what it does make me is a 14-time world heavyweight champion. And I'm like, okay, and they've got the whole Randy starting to listen to his voices again, which I'm fine with. Bring that bad motherfucker back from '09.
I love heel Randy Orton. I like him better as a
Oh yeah,
heel than a
he
face.
was diabolical.
Personally, he's charismatic. Okay, anybody who's charismatic is going to have a funny side and be make a decent baby face. But the reality is, he is one of those guys that was born to play a heel. He's like CM
Mm-hmm.
Punk. born to play a heel.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. Sammy, they keep doing all these little segments with him and Cody and him and Randy. Why did Sammy not come out and like do something? The way they've been portraying this, Sammy, he's gonna snap. That's the whole thing. That's the whole vibe that they're portraying. And like, if shit or get off the pot.
Okay, real talk. Because I was thinking about this too. I really don't I mean, I understand it from the WWE corporate perspective of like we have to have our John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Golden Boy, babyface, and so like that's why uh, Cody is in this continuous position that he's been in for the past several years now. But some of my favorite Cody Rhodes work across his entire career is his heel work. Like dashing Cody Rhodes was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When he first left WWE and was on the Indies before the Bullet Club stuff,
He was a heel.
he was a heel, and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like
And do you think that they would pull the trigger on turning him heel when he's their golden goose boy? I,
was the thing
I
is
think they
I
should.
think, and that's the thing is I think that WWE views him as this golden goose boy, not understanding that it was never Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And it was never the Rhodes family. It was the story that we were all invested in. You
Mm-hmm.
gave us a really excellent story on the bloodline side of it, and then co opted that into a wrestling lineage story that we were already semi invested in just on a personal level. So it naturally blended perfectly and we were in on it. We were all in on it. And that's why you were able to get two WrestleManias out of it.
Yeah, and now like this match should not main event night two. It should be night one's main event. Punk
100%.
and Roman have
100%.
already proven that they are the stars in this situation. Um,
The quick reaction, we didn't have this on the docket to talk about tonight, but I would love your reaction on this. Um, what do you think about the promo between CM Punk and Roman Reigns? Do you think that Punk went too far?
no, I don't. And here's why. I mean, I did have that on the docket. It's just towards the bottom, so maybe you missed it.
Oh, sorry.
It happens. But no, I don't think it was too far. He wouldn't have said that line if they hadn't talked about it beforehand. It's a good heat getter. It comes down to how does the audience perceive it, and the internet was pretty split. There were people that thought that Punk did an amazing job. There were people that thought Roman did an amazing job. They thought that it went too far, that it didn't go far enough. I personally, my biggest quandary with this whole WrestleMania season, look at the main events as they currently sit. What is the common factor between all four men? They're all baby faces. As they
Yeah,
currently are, they are all baby faces.
that's true.
I think it was him adding a little bit of intensity, getting a little personal. I think people. I don't know where people have been getting this from, where they think Roman's just been absolutely destroying CM Punk on the mic. If you've been listening to those promos and
And
watching the body language,
the tit for tat.
it's tit for tat. And yeah, CM Punk has sunned him a couple times, but Roman stood up for himself. It's not like
Hmm.
back when Cena buried Roman on the mic with like Roman would have had to sign off on that. His family would have had to sign off on that. It adds heat. And personally, like if I'm Roman and I'm Punk, I felt I maybe Roman Reigns needs to get a fake urn with some fake dog ashes in them and say Larry. Built
Hmm.
as a throwback, also a callback to Punk versus Taker.
Well, so that's what it actually made me think of was Taker and Punk, and all the stuff that Punk said about Paul Bearer, who had recently passed when they had that match, and you know, I've heard Punk do interviews now about that match and about that build and everything, and the thing that really, he was initially he was worried about you know talking some of that smack and talking about the deceased and everything. But Taker and other people that knew Percy said to him, "This is what he would have wanted. He would have loved this." And being in the business, I 100% believe that, man. If I passed away and someone was going to use my name to get over, and because of the legacy that I had generated on my own, it affected people in the audience. That's a credit to me.
Hmm.
That's
I
giving
mean,
that's giving props to the deceased. So I think it was awesome. I think it was a master class in promo work, and really like trying to get to that shoot feel when we all know that it's a work, because
exactly.
that's the game, is you're trying to make it feel like a shoot even though it's a work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think people are kind of overreacting to it in a way. I don't think it crossed a line. They would his. Do you think the Anoa'i family would be okay with that? If you think one of them wouldn't say, they all
That's
had a
and
signed offer.
and of the
Here's
families not to piss off pretty
Yeah,
much at the top.
yeah. My whole thing is, it adds heat to the Mania match that up until they started trading verbal jabs, it was people were like, all right. After this, people are buying more tickets. That's the whole point. And that's honestly that's the biggest factor with this WrestleMania. WWE's struggling to sell tickets for a
Hmm.
multitude of reasons. They've had terrible creative for basically 9 months now. I'd say 9 months of the last year. They have effectively priced out, I'd say, two-thirds of their core audience. When your cheapest WrestleMania ticket, when I looked last, was like $800 for nosebleeds. That's more than a mortgage.
Hmm.
When
Well,
you're talking,
and I think and this wouldn't have necessarily been a conversation we would be having, uh, a week, 2 weeks ago, but on some real shit now. And this is I'm going to bring up a little bit about world politics. So if you don't like that, the reality is, this is all very real shit I'm about to say. So the reality is that whether you like the Saudi Arabian government or not, okay, irrelevant. Facts are facts, and the fact is, the Saudi Arabian government pumped a shit ton of money into WWE over the past few years, and has been a big part of why they've been able to make some of the moves that they have made. Um, so much so that they've been willing to do full on pay per views, classic pay per views, over across seas in Saudi Arabia, and we're supposed to get next year
WrestleMania there.
WrestleMania in Dubai. Okay,
Yeah,
so um
yeah,
the reality of the situation now is that with missiles have started flying. We're in we're going back into uh Desert Storm era war in the Middle East, and that does not make it a tourist destination, okay? And
no,
it's kind of wild when you think about it too, because of how close Trump is with several members of the WWE, the McMahon family. I mean, Hunter is a member of his like health council or whatever. Doesn't matter. We're gonna sink WWE in their biggest pay per view next year because we're gonna go to another war. Um, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about Americans or we're talking about Europeans or whatever. WrestleMania is an event that if you're hosting WrestleMania, if you're the city that's hosting WrestleMania,
There's a
you're
lot that goes.
you're expecting that to bring in a lot of tourism. Like there's a reason that that cities and states and nations will invest into big events like a mania, like the Olympics,
Super
like
Bowl.
the Super Bowl, the World Cup. These are events that are lobbied for to get. We want this to be here to get people to come here.
They're an economic vacuum. Like if you think about it, like when it's announced there, you've got a week long WrestleMania basically event because you've got the 2 nights of WrestleMania plus you've got all the indie shows that build around that venue for the week. And I think WrestleMania tickets in particular have struggled to sell this year because of price, because of economic global concerns. But they're also back in Vegas again. 2 years in a row. First time I think we've done that in a really long
That's the
time.
yeah. The last time it was done was back 8-9.
Yeah.
I believe it was.
Yeah, wasn't that like Atlantic City
It
or
was
something
either
stupid?
8-9 or 9-10. I can't remember which two it was. And yeah, it was Atlantic City. One of them was the Caesar's Palace,
Mm-hmm.
which horrible WrestleMania, great looking WrestleMania to its credit.
Yeah. But like you're not wrong. Global politics do play a degree of a factor here. Um, I, for one, if I was a WWE talent, would be very nervous about going over to that side of the world with
Hmm.
rockets and carrier groups firing, and the talk of nuclear weapons being used. You know, it's gonna affect everything from our wallets to these superstars' wallets to people's lives.
Well, and
It's very real.
ultimately, it comes down to a situation where, as a company, you're going to have to look at whether or not you want to endanger the lives of your entire roster in order
I
to
think they
put
pivot.
on your biggest show of the year.
If this is still going on by next year, I think they pivot, and I think it'll end up in London or maybe in Canada as like an international show.
It's a crazy thing, but I think it's kind of, but like I haven't heard anybody else talking about this, you know, and so I
That's
think it's a worthwhile conversation for us to have when we're going to in a year from now we'll call back to this conversation, you know, write the
on
date there.
speaking of things that could impact from a year from now. Make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 for 15% off all your gaming merchandise needs. Um, Things that could also, this WrestleMania, I think, is going to affect next WrestleMania. You know, I've been sitting on this for a while. We've talked about it a little bit. I haven't publicly said it. I am 100% convinced that night two is going to end with The Rock showing up and helping CM Punk retain his championship, setting up next year's main event of Rock versus Roman.
I'm down with that actually. I'm
That's the
kind of
only
down
way
with that,
you could get me excited for the Saudi Arabia WrestleMania.
but
I'm sorry,
it
but it is.
needs to be done. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm actually down with that in theory, but I want to be really clear about this when I say that it needs to be done correctly. And what I mean by that is what you're talking about is essentially the finish to WrestleMania 27. Ooh, getting deep lodged in my heart. Um,
I'm not going with 27.
okay.
Kind of. Still a
But
little
you
further down.
do see what I'm saying there. You're talking about The Rock interfering in the main event to make uh sure the title doesn't change hands in the main event.
Hmm.
Like that's essentially the same finish. He came in, he made sure Cena didn't win.
So I forget the exact WrestleMania. I'm thinking more of when Austin turned heel and joined forces with McMahon.
So, um, I think
But
there's a creative. I think there's a very creative way to do this, and like a slick way to do this. But it is tricky.
oh,
It
I
does it does involve a little. It does. require at least some people to be in the know on a deeper level like us so that we could at least inform more generalized fans about nuances.
Hmm.
But it's almost like an Eminem song where like you watch it and you're like, oh, that's really good, and then the more layers you know about it, the better it gets.
Yeah, I would put
So
it like Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. Like it's one of those things where it's got to be done not only in a very tight and consistent and correct way, because you run the risk of alienating and pissing people off.
um
The caveat is, do you have Punk turn heel?
the okay, so this is a really this is a yes, you do have Punk turn heel.
Hmm. Have
Um
him sell his soul to the corporate final boss.
y- yes, but there's two more like again small tweaks to make to this to take it to that next level. Because we're talking on such a grandiose level now, okay?
Hmm.
Um, and because of history between all these different players, um, the one big pivot that needs to be made early is we need to have it established that Heyman was always planning on fucking over Seth Rollins.
So this be like the vision was like the long game, his plan to rejoin The Rock and CM Punk to create Corporation 2.0.
To fuck over Triple H. And to fuck over Triple H's golden boy CM Punk, or to fuck over Triple H's golden boy Seth Rollins. Remember, we don't have the luxury of having Triple H or The Rock as in-ring fighters now. We're if we're going to tell this story, we need to invest that emotion into characters that can physically go at it. We've already got the rivalry between Punk and Rollins set, rocked and ready to go. Okay? That can go to the moon and back by realigning and making sure that it's established that like Seth Rollins is a Triple H guy. Now The Rock, you can bring up the history. You can bring up that history of Punk and Triple H. Punk never got over that. He never got over that. This has all been a plan to fuck over Triple H for years.
So kind of not the invasion storyline, but the invasion vibes.
We're talking. We're talking basically. You start like you lay this out so that by the time I mean, you could do this all in like one promo, but you do the heel turn. You have Punk turn heel. You have The Rock show up at Mania. You have The Rock help Punk. You just have like Triple H up at the top of the ramp. Like what the fuck just happened? That's how we go off the air. We come, we come back in, and all of a sudden you have Heyman, The Rock, and Punk in the ring. You're like, what the hell is this? And they just lay it all out, Ocean's 11 style. This has all been a con we've pulled right in front of your faces. We now have all the power. We have the championship, and we embarrassed you on the biggest stage in the world. Ta-da!
I could be down with that. Um, I think yeah, because then you could position it to where Seth is Triple H's golden boy, Roman represents Vince's golden boy.
No, no, no. Even better. Roman now subs out into almost an anti-hero role, which is where he's
Ah,
perfect.
finally get
He
him over as
represents the locker room. We're talking about two corporate sides that have completely forgotten about the most important elements of the business, the locker room and the fans.
mm-hmm.
So
I could be down with that. That would be a compelling story. Dwayne, if you're listening, please do this. Don't just disappear.
my
Because if you
email
show
is
up for WrestleMania
Brian
and interfere and then
my
disappear, I'm gonna.
my email is brianmead1983 at gmail.com. You go ahead, you send me an email, we'll get together, we'll
Brian Gerwitz can email you for him. Yeah,
Hey, from
honestly,
one Brian to another, let's get it done.
that might single-handedly save this WrestleMania season. I'm not super interested in Cody versus Drew. I'm not interested really that much more in Cody versus Randy as it is now. You
I
can
think
fix it.
I think realistically at this point, with going into Mania, we're in a position where we know that tickets aren't going to sell. Like I don't know what you expect to do to sell. Like you're gonna have to give away tickets at this point.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to go all in on this. You're gonna have, you had Rhea win the chamber. She's facing Jade Cargill, which their
Oh, let's
their
talk
Twitter
about it.
thing.
Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it. Let's talk about it.
um. There are so many layers to this, and some people thought it started off, kind of as a work. I think it is a shoot that
This
became a
is a
work.
shoot. This is a shoot.
I
Well,
think neither
this is
lady likes each other.
well, this is well, okay. Hold on. I want to be clear here. This is a situation where okay, Rhea because Rhea actually made the first uh social media post. Okay.
Which was that was a valid social media post. I don't know why people were
Rhea's post is a work. Rhea's original post, first
was a
post, is a work. Okay, that's where it's a work.
you
Okay,
cross the line when you go into talking about things, talking to creative.
yes. So which was like one, two, three, four, five.
Or
I believe that was like the sixth,
yeah, well,
like back and forth between the two of them, and it started to get more. It was real before then, though. The very first comment that 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 was made by Cargill was I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a shot. It was a legit shot. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Cargill definitely was crossing lines right out the gate and not respecting the really and part of what really baffles me is um since Triple H took over, he's been very adamant about, you make sure to give your opponent their flowers because, whether you win or lose, it's going to make you look better. Like if I'm wrestling against Evan, okay, and I tell everybody Evan is the crappiest wrestler in the world,
then you
okay?
beat me. It was a
And then I
different.
win, yeah. And then I win. Well, great. I just beat a crappy wrestler. Or worse, Evan wins, and then I lost to a crappy wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather say Evan is, Evan, you're an amazing wrestler. You're absolutely incredible. You dominate in this ring. And there's just one problem. You're facing me. Okay, now I've built him up, so now I look better.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think like the whole thing was just like the ladies around locker room got involved on Twitter. I Some people are saying, "Oh, it's a work." I do not believe at the Jade's first response from that point on that was a shoot,
Hmm.
and Rhea she made an Instagram story that basically said, "Not a work, not friends."
I don't, I don't, I don't know. See, and the thing is like, this is just, one of those me being real things. Jade Cargill didn't get where she is because of her ability. Jade Cargill
No,
got where she is because of her looks and an amazing, not just because she's pretty, and she is okay, but she's jacked too. Got
she's
an
jacked.
amazing body.
She's a beautiful woman. She's jacked. She does know how to market herself and present herself as a star. And
Yes,
WWE has done a great job at doing that.
yes.
She's not a good wrestler. Even her AEW days to now, she hasn't really improved that much. She's gotten a little bit more aware of where the hard cam is and can work the crowd a little better.
I mean,
But like,
she got sent to development, back down to developmental immediately after getting signed. So that kind of says
they
a
didn't even
lot.
have her debut on the developmental. They just had her at the performance center practicing
Right,
for
but
months.
that's what I'm saying. Sorry.
Like literally, like what was it? They debuted her. She had a stare down with Charlotte, and then we didn't see her for like
Sorry.
3 4 months.
That's what I meant. I meant the performance center. I
Yeah,
apologize. I said developmental.
yeah. No, I'm with you there. I was already looking forward to this match, and I really thought it was probably the biggest women's match you could have.
Well,
And
with the exception of Bianca. if Bianca Belair was available, I would say that because of their history and everything that we could build up.
Yeah, I think in terms of star power, I still think Rhea has a little bit more star power than Bianca.
I agree.
Is
I agree.
um
I think
just in
well,
terms of being a draw.
I
I'd say
I
it's one
think
A,
that
one B.
I think that well, okay, the gimmick that Rhea has, everything that came about because of the mommy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that elevated Rhea to a different level that I don't think any of the other uh, re- lady wrestlers on the roster have been able to achieve.
Not since Becky Lynch.
I don't think even Becky Lynch. I
I'd
mean,
say the man stuff when it first happened, when
the
they were
man
talking,
stuff, but I don't feel like
they didn't lean into it.
yeah, they didn't lean into it hard enough. Whereas like every week coming out and say, I mean, shit, she showed up on SmackDown, and I really expected her to open with "Mommy's Home."
Yeah, and she, it's an overwhelming reaction. I I'll be perfectly honest, whether it's a work or a shoot, I don't think Jade should be having that belt. I don't think she's ready for that position, and her her shoot responses, in my opinion, prove she's not ready for that position. I
I
wouldn't necessarily demote her back down to like NXT, but I
I
would really, I personally, if I was Triple H and I was the one booking things, I would take the belt off of her and I'd have her work a while on her own, learning the ropes. Maybe, have her, work a program with Charlotte Flair where there's no titles involved, learn how to actually be a professional.
well, just as a very real thing here, Rhea has been on Raw for several years now. Okay, now we got her going over challenging for the SmackDown Women's Championship, assuming she wins it, and I really hope she does too. Um, this is awesome. This opens up some opportunities for women's feuds that could be absolutely stellar. Tiffany Stratton is the first one that I'm going to say. A really quality championship feud between Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton, who I wouldn't have wanted to see a year ago, but after the work and development that she's done both in the ring and on her character over the last year, I'm ready to watch that now.
Same.
Um,
When with Bianca, we don't know if she's ever going to come back. She just had surgery like a couple weeks ago on her finger. She's been out for 10 plus months, since Mania last year. She broke her finger. She's
I
going to be
I
out for a
I think
while.
she will be out, but I think it's going to be a comeback story that they could basically, you know, and this is this would be awesome for her. I would love this for her. Bianca could be the women's Shawn Michaels. This woman who had an incredible career, got hurt, left. We all thought she was done. And then, she comes back, makes a couple of nice appearances, and then we get another stellar run.
Yeah. See, if I'm in the book, if I've got the pencil and she's had to have this surgery, that surgery, it takes about 2 months to fully heal from. It's like a ligament tendon surgery. Um,
Well, and then you
I
got
would
to work
try.
off any ring rust. Like that's another big thing is being out of the ring for a long time. I'm sure she's been working out still, but
Yeah,
that's not the same as, you know, a regular
that's
WWE schedule.
what I was trying to get to.
Sorry.
I would keep her off the program until Royal Rumble next year or this year, I guess.
Wow.
If you're gonna do it, if she's gonna be out, give her time to reacclimate, get in the performance center, get healed up. Have her have the John Cena moment. Have that big Royal Rumble comeback at number 27 through 30. Have her win the Rumble. And then you could put the belt back on Jade at that point, or another big star. Have Bianca versus that person.
I kind of like it. Just for the sake of building up the Rumble and stuff and having it be a really big showcase, I almost think that you kind of mix a couple of different things though. I like the idea of her coming back. I like where your head is at, bringing her back for the Royal Rumble, and having it be this big, epic moment kind of thing.
Do like training vignettes throughout the whole time too.
But I would, I think it would be really cool if like you did almost like a Mark Henry. We believe she's going to announce her retirement. She hasn't been in the ring. Things have been really rough. We build up an online rumor mill that she's going to retire. She comes back out, you know, talks about her accomplishments, and then declares for the Rumble, and just completely circumvents everyone's expectations. And and like even if she does, like even if she did, she'd be like, "I'm going all in on this Royal Rumble." So
Mm-hmm.
it's either I win it and I win my belt back at Mania, or I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And then now people will be invested.
I could see that. That could work. You know, you know, I would be more interested in that than I currently am in Liv versus Stephanie. I really liked that first telenovela type thing they did with Stephanie
Hmm.
and Liv right after Elimination Chamber. But they really haven't done much since. So I'm just like,
I'll be honest. I am not happy with Stephanie Becker as the women's champion. I think they put the belt on her too fast. I think that we could have got some amazing stuff with her. Like honestly, I feel like the women's intercontinental title is the more like sought after belt.
well, I don't know if you saw the preview. They had like a 6 pack challenge basically for the number one contendership for the women's IC title, and Bailey ended up winning it tonight on Raw. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it yet. Um,
Did she get slapped?
I think I might have missed that part.
See, because that's real talk, ladies. By this point, you should have realized never slap Bailey unless you're Lyra
Well,
Valkyria.
Lyra Valkyrie was in the match at one point. Like it was like they were doing an elimination style match, and it came down to Bailey and Asuka to whoever's going to challenge AJ Lee, which is fine. You know, I don't know why you're building up another challenger for AJ Lee when you could just have Becky and her at Mania again. But
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either. Um,
that's probably the biggest gripe I have is just it's so fucking inconsistent.
I mean,
Like
unless you want AJ to defend the title one time before Mania, I guess.
yeah, they're doing next week. It'll be next week,
Okay,
Monday.
so that's why. It's just to give her
Well,
one title defense before Mania,
gotta
and
get a
then
Peter.
you're gonna have Becky Lynch show up at the end and da 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 set up. But see, that's the problem, is that's formulaic like I'm already telling you what's gonna happen a week from now.
Yeah, like it's just the product has become so stale and predictable that we can reasonably predict 75% of the matches, including what's going to happen. We're back to 2021 WWE under Vince, like during
And
the Thunder.
and the thing is like the reality is like some stuff should be predictable.
Yes,
Like
but not
that's good.
everything.
Like if it wasn't predictable, it wouldn't seem realistic. Some of these beats absolutely should happen. The problem is like the things that we're saying are predictable isn't because it's a predictable logic train for the character to go down. It's because it's predictable because it's the same story you tell. Like it's the same way you lay out the story every time.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it works in a TV format where it's like a sitcom or like something like Big Bang Theory or like like any.
Yeah, the Rick and Morty, the circle, the story circle, the Dan Harmon story circle.
But
I I like I like um I like good formulaic storytelling. Okay, I agree,
I do.
but the way that it's told in a professional wrestling format should be different.
Hmm. It should at least be only half. 50% predictable, not 75%. Like the Elimination Chamber predictions, I got all but one right. That shouldn't count.
And the one he got and the one that he got wrong, I got right.
Yeah. So like between the two of us, we got pretty good percentage there.
We got 100% between the two of us.
Yeah. But like my whole thing is just like it. You got to give me a reason to want to buy the pay per view, especially with how you have it structured now with all the pay per views on ESPN, the Saturday Night main events on Peacock, the fucking other stuff on Netflix.
That is another gripe I have.
It's not accessible.
The amount of different streaming services I'm expected to have in order to keep up with a product that is coming out so rapidly is utterly ridiculous. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, re, real talk. Like, even as like, I'm not planning to go to the show, right? But let's say I want to watch WrestleMania. You're expecting me to buy two different services just to really watch that show because I've got to have Netflix to watch Raw.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have
Okay,
Hulu to watch SmackDown.
I gotta have Hulu to have SmackDown, and then sorry, three services, and then I gotta go get NBC so I can put those together to watch
Then ESPN.
the final product. But I shouldn't have to go to three places to get my information. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not the same as just like back in the day when it was just flipping the channels and I already have access to all of these. It's just which channel I put it on. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually a lot more of an inconvenience because you're expecting me to pay a monthly service fee for 6 months a year just to watch your damn pay-per-view.
They've reinvented cable.
Right. No, I get that, but the problem is when you do that, you don't real like it's this complete disconnect. You went ahead and did that, and I'm telling you right now, why should I go through all that effort when YouTube is going to have the highlights and it's all going to be for free?
That's true. Well, and the thing is why would I go? Why would I go to ESPN when I can just get the news updates to tell me the results, and then I can watch the show 2 nights later on Netflix.
Right. And which is what I'm going to do. It's not that I
Yep.
don't want to watch the matches. I do. I love watching wrestling. But I don't want to
I'm
have
not
to
paying two
pay.
hundred something.
Yeah, I don't want to have to pay so much to put
Well,
so much work in. And that's
mm-hmm.
what it feels like.
So I guess to end the chaotic road to WrestleMania section of our show, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited for WrestleMania are you?
Honestly, about a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. Um, I definitely don't have a big like, yeah, it's WrestleMania season that I normally do. Um, I do still have a certain level of excitement just as a generalized fan, and I think what takes it from a 3 to a 4 is just this hope that they're going to try and shake something up because it's been so dismal going into it.
Okay.
I'm really hoping for a big WrestleMania this year
I think
that
they need it.
can launch the product for the next year.
I think they absolutely need to have a successful WrestleMania this year because the entire next year's programs are basically going to be predicated on it.
Hmm.
I think if this WrestleMania flops in terms of attendance and in terms of viewership, they only have themselves to blame. I'm right there with you. I'm at a solid 4 out of 10. It would be a 5 if I felt like they were doing a better job with the storytelling. I just there's only a couple of these matches that and characters that I'm really invested in. I want to be invested in LA Knight and Sami Zayn. You know, I want to be invested in Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton that feud because I like a year ago I pitched several different iterations of that how that could be
Hmm.
really compelling. The only matches I'm really interested in are Roman and Punk and Rhea and Jade that honestly I was excited because it's two, the muscle mommy double, two big muscle mommies fighting. But the shoot work kind of situation there kind of made it a little awkward, but I'm still interested.
Well,
I
it's
can't think
not.
of anything
I
else.
think. I think what makes it a little harder too is it's not like okay when you had the work shoot stuff between like Michaels and Bret Hart back in the day, right? All right,
Hmm.
those are two guys that like yeah that's awkward, but they're still two amazing performers. It doesn't matter. Like we're still gonna get a 5-star match, between
Yeah.
them.
Now it's the
Jake,
champion is a kind of a terrible wrestler who's just you know kind of and it's not to try to take anything away from her. It's just her matches suck. And I think they're hoping that Rhea can turn chicken shit and chicken salad.
you know what I'm really worried about going into that match is actually that Jade won't sell for Rhea.
I am worried about that too, and I'm worried about it on a multifaceted level because in that situation, what do you do? Like as a professional, do you hit them harder to be like get them to sell? It's not like the good old days
That
where you.
was the. I mean, that was the old school answer. Yeah, dead serious. Like that
That's what
was
I'm. If
that
you weren't
was the
selling
old school
for
answer.
DeAndre or
If you
Taker,
weren't
they would hit you
selling, then
harder.
I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna make this shit real. Like you can either sell for me doing it fake, or I'm gonna hit you for real, and you're gonna sell one way or the other.
Yeah, and the women's tag belts have become kind of an afterthought. I think Lash Legend and Nia Jax are the champs now.
Which is kind of
Um,
sad because I actually kind of like them as a tag team. I think they there could be. I think there could be some legs there. I think we. I haven't written them off yet.
I am excited to see what they do with Trick Williams. I think he's got the potential to be a star. I'm excited for what they're going to do with him. I'm
They
pretty
had
sure
set up
he's
The
facing
Rock for
Sami
him.
Zayn. I'm pretty sure he's going to face Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And I am excited to see what they do with Obafemi. I'm really hoping he's the one that answers Brock Lesnar's challenge,
Me
and I
too.
hope he squashes Brock Lesnar.
That would be awesome.
Um, yeah, I'll be honest. When Trick cut that promo on Sami Zayn, where he said his breath smelled like 10 pounds of bounce that ass, that that might have ended that man's career. Like, no joke. Like any momentum he had was gone after that. Like, how does he come back from that? Like, you have to completely. He has to turn heel at this point now.
Oh no,
And
I okay. Well, see, the thing is he's been a heel. You know what I
Sammy,
mean? Sammy has been no, he's been that's what, he's been a heel before.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying. He's been a heel before, and if you recall, his heel work is like Christian level.
yeah, no. I think honestly that'd be. They're talking about maybe turning Trick babyface. You could do a double turn with those guys.
Yeah,
Trick Williams has the aura. He's got the crowd reaction. He's got the athleticism behind him. Him and
I
Obafemi and are probably two
but
names we will.
having Sammy snap and absolutely leave Trick laying and then come back and beat on him some more and just leave him in a pile of blood. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Like then
Yeah,
Trick can come back as the baby and we can have an amazing feud between like a blood feud between the two. That'd be great.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I don't want to see goof off Sami Zayn anymore. Like I'm ready to see main event Sami Zayn.
I need to see a serious side of Sami Zayn. That's what we need to have. And honestly, I'm hoping Kevin Owens can come back. Even if it's just as a friend and reignite a fire under his friend's ass.
I mean, I don't think if there was a good reason for it, I think Kevin would still come back even if he wasn't like going to be in a. I mean, like there's plenty of ways to bring him back even if he's not going to compete. You
Yeah,
know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
you could honestly. What would be really fun is to have him show up as Sammy's manager.
Yeah, that
That
would
would
be
be an
great.
interesting way to bring those two back together. Have Sammy be like, what, you were right about Cody Rhodes, and Kevin be like, I know I was right. I'm glad you see the light.
You weren't just right about Cody Rhodes. You were right about everything.
Right about this system, the corruption. Really lean into that paranoia that he's displaying a little bit. Um, Yeah, a solid 4 out of 10 is my interest level. I'm hoping over the next few weeks they can fix that because WrestleMania. When is WrestleMania this year? Let me see.
While he's
That
looking up
is
that, remind all of you at home to go to duelingguard.com. Use the code SOG15 to get
two,
yourself
three.
50% off of all your gaming merchandise needs, from deck boxes, play mats, to binders. They got everything you need, and cool new anime lines coming out all the time at duelingguard.com.
Yeah, WrestleMania at 42 will be April 18th and 19th, so we got a little over 5 weeks.
All right. Well, we'll see. You know what? We both said 4 out of 10 this week. We're going to revisit this question in 2 weeks when we're back here for our next episode of the SOG podcast. We'll see if they've managed to pump up that meter by then, but I
All
don't got a
right.
lot of hope
Well,
going into that.
this is I'm more interesting topic to me. We both talked about how we wanted to come up with our top 5 non-Shockmaster gimmicks that we think
Yeah.
are some of the worst of all time.
For those of you at home, we are still going to do a bad gimmicks tournament. This is kind of like the precursor to that. So after this, we're going to be putting up a post on. We'll pin it to the top of the Facebook page. We want you guys to comment your, like, the just what do you think the worst gimmick is all time. If you need to include a picture, we got some pictures for you. Make sure you do that. You might even need to tell us where they are, because some of these gimmicks are very short lived.
Obscure.
Very short lived. All right. Um, so we both picked out 5 of our favorite bad gimmicks tonight. Evan, do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first tonight?
You go ahead and go first because I just remembered one that I really want to put on this list that I totally just forgot.
Oh, excellent. Is it Vinshausen?
No, it's not Vinthausen.
Okay, because that's a really great gimmick. You can't
Uh,
knock Vinshausen.
well, I guess I have the image now. If you want me to go first, and I can just drop it.
Sure, sure, go ahead.
All right. Well, that is not what we want. We don't want a video file. We want an image file. Bad Ebenhausen.
Bad Evanhausen, no monies for you. Now Brianhausen gets all the monies.
We're gonna go ahead and because I didn't add that one, I won't let me remove it. Let me oh, let me just go ahead and share my screen. I always forget there's a 10 limit.
Well, we have multiple pictures. Hold on, we have multiple pictures loaded up here of one of mine. Um, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Wow,
I
yeah,
just it popped into my head. Beaver Cleaver. He had one match. Former
beaver
headbanger.
cleavage, beaver cleavage.
Beaver Cleavage.
The incest gimmick. Yeah, that is a
Oh yeah,
bad one.
yeah, that
That
was
is
bad.
definitely a bad
That's
one.
one of the former headbangers. That's the wild thing. I didn't realize that until like a week ago. But yeah, that
Yep.
gimmick right there was shortly lived in the Attitude Era. He literally had one match. It was the shits, and then that gimmick just disappeared.
Yeah, he changed to, I believe it was Chaz a week after
Yeah,
that.
yep, and yeah,
That
it
was
was
that
so
was
funny.
really disturbing. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bad gimmick, definitely a bad gimmick there. Okay, so in the world of bad gimmicks that are very short-lived, only around for a night, how about Fantasio, the mime magician that showed up for a whopping 2 matches in WWF before
I know.
being ridden out to pasture. Um, Real talk, like, you would think, actually, just based on the look, that this would have been something cool.
Yeah, it
But
looks like it should.
but the idea of doing like sleight of hand magic in the middle of a wrestling match, and having your finisher be to rip your opponent's boxer shorts off of them, still in one piece, while they're in their attire, that's pretty bad. That's pretty damn bad.
That's fair. For mine, it's Kerwin White. If
Oh
it
my
ain't
god.
white, it's right. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with this attitude era, or not, ruthless aggression era character,
Uh,
this is actually Chavo Guerrero when Vince had him come back as a white guy. Um, I think he
drove
was only
around
around
in a
maybe a month or two as this character, and then it just disappeared, and he came back as Chavo. Yeah, his catchphrase was "If it ain't white, it's right," and not so subtle, leaning into racisms
Didn't
stuff.
he win the ECW championship as Kerwin White?
No,
I
I
thought
don't.
I remembered that.
No, I think he only won that as Chavo.
Okay. I
Medical
do I do
Europeans.
like that. I did like that they had him ride around in a golf cart. I will throw that out there. The promos where Kerwin White was riding around in a golf cart I thought were funny satire, but it was pretty bad. Pretty damn bad.
Yeah, yeah. It was July of 2005. I think he had a feud with John Cena at one point, and yeah,
John Cena.
John Cena. That's a gimmick that should have been bad, but it worked.
But it worked. It actually worked really well. Well, as long as we're talking about WWECW, I have one
Oh
from
God,
the WWE ECW era as well. Um, don't forget his epic promo where he delivered that line. Of course, I'm talking about the ECW zombie. Um,
the shits.
I get that WWE apparently had to do a gimmick, some kind of supernatural gimmick and stuff, as part of their deal with sci-fi. But seriously, this was just the drizzling shits. Apparently, there was also one of the other options that they had was to make a heel chef character because the Sci-Fi Channel had it out for the Food Network. I really think that would have been a better way to go.
Yeah.
All right,
Uh.
we're back over to you, Evan.
Well, Max Moon. Um. For those of you who don't know, this is an early 1990s Conan, one of the largest, biggest luchadors of all time in the 1980s. He was the Hulk Hogan of Mexico in the 1980s. When he came to the WWF in the 1990s, they repackaged him as Max Moon. Basically, think Mega Man, but on the moon. He was around for maybe like 2, 3 months, and I think they released him quietly after that.
Mhm.
It was really fucking bad, like
This was
horrendously fucking bad.
definitely one of those cases, and there's at least another one, a couple more of these on this list. That it wasn't the wrestler; it was definitely the gimmick because the wrestler would see a lot of success, later on, and in Conan's case, prior. Also, as long as we're just talking about Conan, it did come out in the news that Conan was actually hospitalized yesterday. So, just or not yesterday, excuse me, a couple days ago, and it looks like he's going to have his leg amputated. So, just our hearts go out to him and his family. Thank him for all the years of entertainment, and yeah, that's just a really sad story there.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I'm gonna lighten it back up here in a big way, and I mean a big way with a big man. A man who himself would go on to win world titles in WWF and WCW, and I think even maybe TNA, but not as Oz. No, no, Kevin Nash would not have any success as Oz. Um,
Hard to believe that that's Kevin Nash under there. Just
it is.
it's
I
hard.
like just seeing the Grand Wizard of Lime City walk down the ramp would have been. It's so crazy. I don't know whose idea that was, but they. I hope they got fired.
I think it was Pat Patterson's.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, that would have been WCW. That would have been Jim Herd.
All right. Did you have another image you wanted to load up or anything?
Oh
Here, I
yeah.
can I can go ahead and remove some of these now from the studio so that you can. Oh yeah, there we go.
Perhaps the second worst gimmick of all time, probably in terms of reception. Um, the Shockmasters, too low of hanging fruit, so we excluded that from the argument here.
It
The
was low
Gobbledygook,
hanging fruit, but
yeah.
definitely relevant when we're talking about that Danhausen conversation.
Hmm.
Like we're talking worst debuts of all time. That was the one that they mentioned. Although Shockmaster should have been in there. That same vein too. Also, horrible debut for a horrible gimmick.
Can't
Do
go
you
wrong with
think?
that.
Do you think that Mean Gene knew what was in the egg, or do you
Oh
think
yeah.
Vince just like sprung that on him and was
I,
like,
I believe Mean Gene was in the loop. I think he just thought it was the shits and went with it anyways.
I like the idea that because we all know that Vince was a practical joker too. I do like the idea that he would have kept Mean Gene out of the loop. There are rumors that the Undertaker was originally supposed to hatch out of that egg. I think that's what they told Mean Gene.
Gross.
Can you imagine if that was how the Undertaker debuted?
All right, you're up next, Brian.
All right, so this is going to be a fun one. I showed you this picture earlier before we went on air. This will be one for fun for the fans at home too. So this tag team right here, um, the Jinx brothers had a whopping one match in WWF before this gimmick was scrapped. I really wanted to bring up this gimmick today because just like some of the other uh, failed gimmicks that we've talked about, would you believe that this is one of the, if not the most successful tag team of all time?
Is this the Hardy Boys?
That is Matt and Jeff Hardy during the early 90s. So like if you actually go back and look in the early 90s, the Hardys were used as enhancement talents on numerous occasions for stars like uh, the 123 Kid or Razor Ramon. And this was their first attempt to give them some kind of something. And so they brought him out as the Jinx brothers, and this flopped hardcore. But as you look at the green Jinx brother, that's actually Jeff, and you can kind of get some of those Willow vibes actually just looking at that. So it's kind of cool, in some ways to look at this picture, even though horrible gimmick. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're gone.
I got another one here.
Yep, we're
Uh,
down. That's four for each of us. So like I'm looking forward to seeing your number one. I know what your number one is. It was so bad that it was actually on my list, and I had to go grab one of my alternates. So definitely agree with you on your choice for number one bad gimmick.
okay. Well, we'll see if it actually let me.
I'm gonna cover my eyes. I don't need to see the picture. Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
Bastion Booker. This
Why?
was like
Why?
this. This was so fucking cringe, and like this was like Big Daddy B before Big Daddy B with the
Oh.
humping.
Oh, I
Like,
feel like we're gonna get demonetized just for having this picture on the screen.
you mean pepperoni nipples are gonna get us demonetized?
Oh,
Little
okay.
Canadian
That
dick in
okay.
you.
Like real talk. Why would you ever think that that was gonna get over? Like, I don't know what in Vince's head ever said that that was a good idea.
I mean, Vince also thought the Mantor was gonna be fucking good.
And puke. It's true.
He's gonna puke.
Real so real quick idea of some other bad gimmicks that didn't quite make our top five. Um, all right, so this is gonna be my number one. And our last bad gimmick for the night. Obviously, Evans was Bastion Booger. I'm not going to leave you all with quite that nasty of a sight in your head. However, it's going to be just as disgusting of a thought. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. My number one tonight is the fat chick thriller himself, Mike Awesome.
That's Daniel Roberts.
That's Daniel Roberts. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, no, seriously, fun.
He's all three of them.
It's a lot of nuggets. Uh, okay, but in all seriousness, love to poke fun at Dan. Um, the fat chick thriller gimmick
It was
with
so bad. Like, who
with
created that?
with Mike Awesome was
Blech.
so cringe,
I watched this live.
and it really the other and the thing that it really sets this one apart for me is when we talk about some of the others, when we talk about your Oz's or the Jinx brothers or the Max Moons. These weren't gimmicks that were enough to, in the end, sink their careers. But this one was. There was no coming back from the fat chick Thrilla, that 70s dude. Mike Awesome, I feel bad, man. You when he was doing matches in ECW in the late 90s, just prior to coming to WCW, I really thought this guy was going to have a massive career. That top
Yeah,
rope power bomb was sick.
yeah. This gimmick. Yeah, it ruined his career, and you know, unfortunately, I don't think he's with us anymore. Definitely probably didn't make things easier.
No.
I don't know. There's a lot of really bad gimmicks out there, guys, and we're gonna throw up a bracket on the page. Make sure you vote in the comments who you think should win each match, and then we'll whoever gets the most votes in each round will go to the next round.
And I'm serious. I really look forward to hearing what you guys put as your favorite bad gimmicks because like we've done some of these top 5 lists and stuff before. This might have been the hardest one for me to put together because through the whole thing, I'm like, oh no, you gotta no. Oh wait, take that one out and put this. I could have easily done a 20 bad gimmicks
Oh
here.
yeah,
So looking forward to seeing what you guys at home put on the page for your favorite bad gimmicks. I'm sure some of these will also make the list. Uh, yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess before we go, make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 for 15% off all your gaming merchandise needs. I know there's some exciting things coming up here on the podcast. We've got D&D coming back up this next Monday. We're excited for that. We've
I'm
been kicking
super
ass.
pumped. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped for this Monday. We've got
Yeah,
we got super weapons, Evan. We've got
yeah, we have
super weapons.
a bow that can just infinitely shoot. And you got
I have every he made the mistake of giving me the Green Lantern power ring. He just doesn't know it yet.
don't tell him that publicly.
Oh crap. This isn't live like across the internet, is it?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that. We've been having some Pokemon content and some Master Duel content come out. I know you've been playing some Marvel Snap lately, buddy. That's been really interesting to watch your gameplay.
thank you. Yeah, getting back into Marvel Snap, which is Kind of difficult for anyone who plays that game. The collection system for obtaining new cards is very slow and difficult. So coming back into the game and trying to be competitive after taking about a year and a half away from the game has it's definitely a handicap. And I might put up some content in that regard just because it's Marvel and it's superheroes and it's geeky and it's fun.
Yeah, and we're in discussions to do some other cool, fun things. I know we've talked about running some tournaments maybe for Master Duel in the near future. I think that or teaching people how to play if they want. We're kind of open to a lot of different things, but I think that's going to do it for us this week. It's been a blast, and we'll see you guys later.
Good night, everybody.